Okay, so this is the second part of the Red Cafe Bistro videos. And the first thing I want to do is get the body set up the way I want it to be set up. So I'm going to look at the body and I'm going to look at the main section. Now I gave that an ID, so I need to use the hashtag. And this should start to format how it's going to look. So in terms of the body, I'm going to do a couple of wee resets at the start. I'm going to say margin 0. Okay, and save that. Now you might not see any real difference at the moment, but I'll just zoom that out a wee bit. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I want to put my background image in. Now I spent a wee bit of time looking at my background images, and I went for like a cityscape. Now I went for a landscape, and again I took it off Unsplash. So background dash image. And to put in a background image, it's URL. Again, I think I touched on this in one of the earlier wee worksheets. And I need to go into my images folder. Now, a couple of things I want to explain here. The double dot takes me out of the CSS folder. And writing /images takes me into the images folder. And I've got an image in there called background.jpg. Now, if I put that in and save it, what you'll see, I'll just refresh my page, you'll see the page now looks like that. Now it looks terrible just now because it's all blurred out. Now because it's called the Red Cafe and I'm using red, I picked an image that had some kind of red street lights and stuff like that on it. So it doesn't look great at the moment, but the background image has come in. Now I'm just going to toy about with this a wee second. You'll notice that if I take out the two dots and save it, and save it and refresh it, oh, it's stuck. It should stop working, but it seems quite determined to work. Okay, I'll put the two dots back in though. So it's obviously taking this link into the style from that. I'll come back and have a look at that. Now a couple of things here I want to show you. So the background there, you'll see it repeats it. So the page is quite tall, but what you'll see is that the background repeats itself. So if I take this out to 100%, it's fine, but then you'll see it happens again. I don't want that, right? So what I want to do is I want to make the background cover the image, cover the window. So I'll go to background size and I'll say cover. Okay. And now you'll see that the background covers the image. There's no repetition of the image, so it stops it repeating. And I will just say background repeat. I don't think this will be a problem because it's quite wide. If I had a really wide monitor, this could be an issue though. So I'm going to say background dash repeat, no repeat. Oops, repeat, no repeat. So if you had an extra wide monitor, the background should just cover the background of the window and not repeat itself. There we go. Okay. Now again, you can't see the text on it. I know that. So this is where we're going to have to use the main. Okay, so I think that's us finished with kind of styling the body. The main, well, if I'll again think back to the diagram that I've done, I only want the main to be a kind of column down the middle of the page. So I'm going to say width 70%. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a background colour. And I'll just go FFF. Okay, and so now you'll see, you can still see the background, and I've got this column here. Now, what I want to do though is I want to centre this. It's all stuck at the left hand side. And again, what you'll see now, because I put margin 0 on, there's literally no margin between the body of the page and the text. So I'm going to go in here and I'll say margin. And it's the same as before. I'll give it a wee bit of space at the top, 50 pixels. So that gives me 50 pixels at the top and the bottom. And I'll just say auto, and that means that it'll centre it. Okay, and there we go, it's now in the centre of the page. So it's starting to look a wee bit better. The next thing I want to do is deal with the nav section. Now, I wanted a kind of red chunk of a background, a red rectangle. And again, if you think back to some of the examples that we've looked at earlier. So I'm done with the main. I'm just going to click the wee arrow here to bring them down. It doesn't mean it deletes them, it just means they're out of the way at the moment. So the nav section was where my hyperlinks are. And again, it's a tag, so I don't put a hash or a dot or anything like that. Text dash align, and I'll say centre. Okay, and that puts the links in the middle. Now that image is still a bit wide, but I'll deal with that in a minute. You'll see that the image goes beyond. You see that? The image goes beyond the column, but I can fix that. So padding, and again I want a wee bit of room to breathe around this. Padding, I'll try 30 pixels. Now again, just to kind of be honest with you, I've mucked about with this before I've started this video, so I kind of know my numbers, but when I was actually building this in real time, it took me a wee while to get exactly what I was looking for. Okay, now in terms of my colour scheme, I can't remember my colours, so I'm going to have to go and find out what my colours were. So I want a kind of dark red background here. There we go. So I'm going to go for 8C000. Now what I could do here, I'm just going to keep a couple of lines at the top of the page, and I'm just going to say, I'm going to put a comment, and I'm just going to put my colours in so I know them. So I'll say 8C0000. Other ones, I'll just copy them actually. Now this is just laziness from me so that I know what they are. And I'll just say colours. Because it's commented out, it can just sit up at the top of the page, that's fine. So again, I can just go and nick that out of there, paste that in there, and that's me got my colour. So it just means I'm not jumping between documents. There we go. That's not bad. It's getting there. And my font, sorry, my link colour isn't perfect, so I'm going to make my link colour white. So that's FFF for white. Okay, it didn't take it. I can't know why it's not taking it, sorry, being daft. I'll do that in a second. So, again, that's the nav section, red and centred, and got a bit of breathing space around it, that's not bad. Of course, see when you're doing this, the chances are there might be things you're not happy with. I'm not entirely sure about that colour of red, to be honest with you, on that screen, but we'll see. So I'm going to say nav A, and this is, what this again means is any anchor inside the nav, so these three links is what I'm talking about. This is where I can change the colour. So colour FFF. Let's save that. I think I've lost my preview 2 seconds. And what I'll do is I'll say text, I don't want any lines on it, text dash decoration none. Font dash size, now I can do pixels or whatever, I'll say font dash size, I'll try large, right? Just write in large, and let me see, now I need to get my index page up, and I'll click on here. There we go. Now they're two stuck together for me, so what I want to do is go in here and say padding dash left, and I'll say 2%. You'll see it moves it, and I'll say padding dash right 2%. Okay. that looks alright, that's coming okay. The previews can be a wee bit funny in this sometimes, but it's looking alright. So, that's my links. Now, what I want to do is when the mouse goes over it, I want it to change colour. So what I can do is add another style and say nav a hover. Now we've talked about states in some of the examples before. I'm just going to keep this simple just now. Let me see. I'll either go with black in this or I'll go with this colour. Let's see. There you go, that's not bad. That's so I've used a slightly darker red, that's okay. Contrast still okay there. Alright. Okay. So let's have a look further down. The lists could probably do with just padding in a wee bit and maybe a bit of breathing space underneath them. So what I'm going to do here, unordered list, I can style that, and you'll see there it already knows that that's what I'm kind of styling. And I'll say padding dash left, I'll go 10%, just nudges it on a wee bit, see that? Again, not much of a change, but I think it looks okay. And what I'll do, I'll say margin dash bottom, which should give it some breathing space at the bottom. I'll go 50 pixels. Now when I'm working with widths, I always use percentages, and when I'm working with heights, I will use pixels. It just means that we can get that accordion effect when we're stretching it. Okay, footer could do with a wee tidy up as well. So let's see what we can do with that. So again, the footer was just an HTML5 tag. I'm just going to say text dash align center. So that puts it in the middle, you see it jumping right across there. And let's change the colour. So I'll go background colour. I'm going to keep it the same as the nav, right? It's going to kind of the top and the bottom the same. I'm not sure. Again, I'm just a wee bit unsure about that colour. I don't know if it could be darker. Okay, and what I want again, just a wee bit of padding in the footer. Again, just to give it. So I'm going to say padding now. I'm not saying left or right. I'm putting padding all around it, and there you go. There's the padding, so it gives it that bit of height as well. I think that works okay. Right, it's getting there. Now, a couple of things I don't like. If you look at the text is stuck to the border. So I need to give it a bit of room to breathe. So, the things I'm trying to, if you think back to what I've done, I've got my H1, I've got paragraphs, I've got H2, and I've got H3, right? So I want to style all these at the same time. So again, just going to take a new line in there. Hopefully you can see the benefit of just hiding these wee things, so I'm not dealing with hundreds of text on my screen at once. So I'm in the main section, which is an ID, so I have to say main. So I want to deal with the paragraph in the main section, but there's a wee trick I can do here. I can also say deal with the heading 1, oops, heading 2, else if I can type, and the heading 3. And what I can do with these is I can move them in a wee bit. I'll say padding dash left, I'll go 5%, and you'll see it nudges everything in. Now the text is still jammed in the right hand side, so I'm going to say padding dash right 5%, and that gives it a bit of breathing space there as well. And just we talked about typography ages ago in one of the examples on the course. I'm just going to do line height, so line dash height. Now you can muck about with this until you're happy. I'm going to say 150%, and it just makes it read a wee bit nicer. I've just got that wee bit more. Again, if I do 170, that's not bad. Let's try 170. and you see that it gives it a bit of room to breathe. So as I've said, the pictures are going out of the margin, which I don't want, so I need to deal with these next. Now if you look at the index page, I have given both pictures, I know it's the same picture, but it's the class that I'm working with, so I have given them a class called section pick. So that's what I want to work with. Let's have a few bit of space. So because it's a class, I put in dot and I say section pick. So anything that is styled with section pick, which is my two images, these ones, and then what I can do is style them. I'm going to say width 100%, and right away now they fit into the column. Okay. And I think in terms of our index page we're pretty much done. What I didn't do is I haven't put a logo in yet, but I'll come back to that later on. I've not put my wee logo in at the top. But that is how you can style the main page of your project.